Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from your finance department, it is the finance director, Misty Dodge. Misty, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
Thank you for being on here. We usually only get to talk budget and stuff like that, but now we're going to be talking about stormwater utility. There'll be some changes coming up here. We want to make sure we go through these bit by bit here. So you're kind enough to take the time out of your schedule today to walk us through this. So overall, what is happening here with the stormwater utility?
Yeah, so I'm here today to let people know that there was a stormwater rate increase that was approved that people will start seeing on their next utility bills that come out at the end of this month.
And when you say approved, what does that mean?
Yeah, so a resolution was approved by council. The budget, when the 2021 budget was passed by the council at the end of 2020, the expenses that were approved were not all able to be paid for by the rates that were at the time. So a rate increase needed to be done in order to generate the revenue to pay for all of the expenses that were approved in the budget.
All right. Well, walk us through then how this is working and how we got to the numbers that that will be out on the bills here.
Absolutely. If I can start for a moment and just talk about what the stormwater rates are. So the stormwater rates is a piece of the quarterly utility bill that goes out to all of our customers. And if you look at the average single family urban home, the stormwater utility is about 10 to 15% of the total quarterly bill that's going out. So this rate increase that I'm talking about is not on the whole quarterly bill, it's just on a portion of that quarterly utility bill. So as I mentioned, when the 2021 budget was approved, the revenues did not support the expenses that were approved. So we brought a resolution to council at the beginning of 2021, which presented a rate increase. And that rate increase was simply what was needed to balance the 2021 budget. And so these new rates are going to be effective, or were effective July 1st of this year. But because of the quarterly bills that we do, customers won't see that increase until the bills that are coming out now at the end of September.
Yeah, so let's take a peek then here at that breakdown.
Yeah, so the rates here on this chart are the current rates, or I guess the old rates by each one of the categories of the stormwater customers, the new rates per quarter, and then those same amounts per annual. So when I'm talking about utility rates, I generally focus on this urban single family because that's who the bulk of our customers are. And so the urban single family increase is going to be $7 per quarter, or just over $28 per year that they'll see.
As the increase then to the total?
Yep, that's the increase. So it's going to go from $18.71 per quarter to $25.82 per quarter.
Gotcha. And as far as what is all the payments go towards? So when we're talking utilities, so specifically the stormwater utilities.
Yeah, that's a big question that we get is, what does this stormwater utility do and why do we have it? And the stormwater utility, it's important to know that it is a part of the city, part of the overall functions that the city provides, but it is not funded by property taxes. It's a separate utility that's paid for through rates. And so the cost of providing all of the service for the stormwater utility is spread to all of our ratepayers based on impervious area. So that's the area on your property where the rainwater, the stormwater can't infiltrate into the ground. So that includes your roof, your driveway, parking lots, all of those things where the stormwater cannot infiltrate. That water needs to be addressed. And so the stormwater utility pays for all of those costs to reduce the polluted runoff into our system. So that includes the maintenance and operation of the city-owned stormwater drainage, as well as the city-owned stormwater management facilities, like those stormwater ponds that you will see throughout the city. Those are all maintained and created by the stormwater utility.
Yeah, and what's the goal then? I mean, of city administration, or well, not city administration. I guess you got all of our departments working on different projects here. Excuse me, but as they move along, what are we going to see as far as development for stormwater, and how does that match against the rates and future rates?
Yeah, so thinking back about that 2021 budget, there were some pretty significant changes from 2020 to 2021, which is what drove the need for this rate increase. And so the slide that I have up now is the operating budget side. And if I can back up for a moment, so there's two components of the budget. There's the operating side, which would be your staffing, your maintenance costs, that type of thing. And then there's the capital side, which are those big construction projects that the stormwater utility does. So right now, what I have up here is the operating side. So there were kind of three big things that jump out at me for the 2021 budget that were approved and was the driver for this rate increase. In the professional services line, the vegetation management increased $40,000. Vegetation management is the cost to maintain those stormwater facilities, those stormwater ponds that we have. Make sure that the vegetation or the plants that are growing in it are serving their purposes and done appropriately. Another big thing is the street sweeper. So I know Fact TV did a story for us recently where we bought the new street sweeper, and there was a Fitchburg resident that designed the side of it, which is very cool. But we did have to pay for that street sweeper, and then also the fuel and the maintenance cost and all of that for that additional piece of equipment. And that equipment is needed because, as the city grows, we've got more street sweeping that needs to be done. And there's a cost associated with that. And then the third thing on the operating side that I think is important for the rate increase is that staff position. So we bought the new street sweeper and we have a lot of big projects going on the stormwater side. We also needed additional staff. So we did hire one new person through the 2021 budget. 2/3 of that position was paid for by the stormwater utility, and we'll be doing the street sweeping and other stormwater functions. And that cost is another big reason why this increase was required.
Gotcha. Yeah, and are we mandated to provide clean wastewater? So when that wastewater or stormwater runoff is being captured and going, what is the city responsible for as far as what are staff having to do as part of maybe a DNR mandate or state mandates or even county?
Mhm. Exactly. So I don't know as much about the specifics of the stormwater utilities. There's a stormwater department and an engineer that is responsible for a lot of that. But there are DNR permits and requirements, really making sure that the water that comes from the storm is addressed and is not polluted as it goes into the rest of the system.
Yeah, and certainly, you are in finance, so can't have you answer every question. But good to know that there are some mandates out there that go into this, and then there was some carryover here from the 2020 operating budget as well, playing a role in this.
Yep. And then on the capital side, if I may, so the capital projects are handled a little bit differently than the operating side. But another reason why this rate increase was so important is there are a lot of stormwater projects happening right now. And so this list here will talk about some of the bigger projects, and these are multi-year projects. So for example, this Lake Barney watershed, $60,000, that's just the early phase of that project in total. There's more costs that will be coming to actually install the facility that is needed. So there's a lot of one-time capital projects that are also being installed. And the more facilities we build, the more our maintenance costs will going to be because we have more facilities that we have to take care of and then ultimately replace at some point. So these are just some projects that are in the hopper right now.
And as these projects go on, and we continue to have building in here, these costs get offset? Like, how is there any balance to how this goes? Obviously, there's always projects, there's always going to be stuff happening, but how does that play into all of this?
Yeah, so all of these projects are laid out through our capital improvement plan, which is a 10-year plan. It's available out on the city's website. Would encourage anybody that's interested in the capital projects throughout the city to see what's all included in that plan. And in there, it talks about the different funding sources, whether it's property taxes or borrowing or stormwater rates or water rates, et cetera. So every project is looked at individually, and there's a detail sheet for each one. So you can get the basics of the project, how much it's going to cost, and where that money's coming from.
Awesome. Any other notes of sort here, Misty?
I do. I have one more. So there are a couple of stormwater credits that are available to people that we just want to make sure people are aware of. For more information, go out to the city's website. I included the website there so people can find it. But on the residential side, if you install a rain barrel or a cistern or a rain garden or pervious pavement, you can get a credit on your stormwater utility bill to help lower that cost. And then there's also a credit for being a Fitchburg Creek supporter. These credits are either one-time or ongoing, depending on the type of credit, but are available to people to lower that bill. And then on the multifamily or the commercial site, they have those same credits, as well as if they install their own stormwater detention facility, they can get a credit for that too. So if these credits are something you're interested in, you can go out to the website and there's some forms to fill out and to certify certain things, and we'll make sure that it gets reflected on the bill appropriately.
All right, Misty. Well, thank you so much for breaking it down for us. And if anybody has any additional questions besides obviously going to the website and finding out more questions and watching this, you guys do take phone calls as well and emails. That's all on the website as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, Misty, our finance director here, taking the time out talking storm and utilities. We'll keep posting this or post this video up too on the page so you can go back and watch. And if you have any questions on it, hopefully this helps you out. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.